Okay, so the preferred program for writing code in C Sharp is going to be Visual Studio for Microsoft developers. And you're in luck because Visual Studio is probably the best IDE on the planet. Microsoft has been developing Visual Studio for well over a decade, and it shows. This program is awesome. And even better, Microsoft recently released something called Community Edition. The original version of my videos were Visual Studio Express 2013. Then Microsoft decided to take the pro version of Visual Studio and turn it into something called Community Edition. So where before you had to download multiple versions of Visual Studio to do web apps versus desktop and things like that, now they've prepackaged a Visual Studio that will work for just about anybody, and it's great for learning, and you can even use it if you're running like a small company. If you decide to go freelance and you only have 1 to 5 developers, this version is going to work really well for you. So to get started, navigate in your browser to visualstudio.com, and here you're going to see the download Visual Studio 2015 link. Go ahead and click that. It's going to launch a really small download, only 3 meg down here. And that's because it's going to get the rest of the bits from the internet while you install. So if you go ahead and launch this installer, it's going to bring up the splash screen. It's going to ask where you want to put it and all that good stuff. You can go to custom and you can actually pick like all the little bits that you want to install. But for the purposes of a beginner, I would just choose typical. So let's go ahead and hit install. And it's going to ask, do you really want to do this? Yes, we do. And it's going to go ahead and start downloading stuff from the internet and installing things. And depending on your internet connection and how fast your computer is, this could take anywhere from 10 minutes to 30 minutes. I've seen it take an hour on really old machines with crappy internet connections. But just go ahead and wait it out. I'm not going to make you wait this out while we run the video. And then eventually the install will finish. You might be prompted to restart, so if you are, just go ahead and restart your computer at that time. So now we're going to launch Visual Studio 2015. And the first thing it's going to do is ask you if you want to sign in. If you do sign in and you use Visual Studio on multiple machines, it'll like sync your settings. And actually, if you end up being a web developer and you want to deploy things to Windows Azure and things like that, signing in will keep all that in sync. I'm going to choose not now, maybe later. It's going to ask you what kind of development environment you want and what your color theme is going to be. Now in these videos, I use the blue color theme. So as a beginner, I recommend you choose blue just so everything will be the same colors as what I'm using. And for your development settings, I would choose Visual C Sharp. All of these things can be changed later in the settings, so don't worry about it too much. And then go ahead and hit Start Visual Studio. It'll do a little bit of preparation, and then it's going to open up into the main window. And you won't see this start screen anymore after this, so this is a one-time thing. Once you're inside Visual Studio, you'll see this is your main IDE window. If you're connected to the internet, you'll get news from the industry, and there's a lot of neat articles and stuff that pop up. Probably most of it's a little advanced for you as a beginner, but over time you'll come to appreciate those. And then here's your new project area, and you can also go to File, New Project. And when you chose C# development settings, all that did was put the Visual C# templates front and center for you. We're going to be doing a lot of console applications in this course, so you now have everything you need to get started.